Do you feel it? That relentless, suffocating pressure to be the man who never breaks, never falters, never shows even a hint of weakness. The world tells you, society whispers, and perhaps even your own reflection in the mirror demands it. Be strong, always in control, always invincible. But what if I told you that this relentless pursuit of external, performative strength is actually your greatest weakness? What if, by trying to be the unshakable rock for everyone else, you're systematically eroding your own foundation, brick by brick, until one day you simply collapse? This isn't just about social expectations imposed since childhood. It's about a devastating internal war, a silent and solitary battle that men around the world are losing every single day.
The cost of this war? Your mental peace, your authenticity, your ability to truly connect with other human beings, and most tragically, your own sense of self-love. If you've ever woken up at 3 a.m. with a tight chest, if you've ever felt completely trapped by the unspoken rule that you must always be okay, even when you're literally falling apart inside, even when every fiber of your being is screaming for help, then stop everything you're doing and pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Because what I'm about to reveal isn't just another self-help philosophy you'll consume and forget. It's a lifeline forged by 2,000 years of wisdom, tested by the most resilient men in history. This is where the true journey to genuinely unbreakable inner strength begins. Prepare to discover how ancient wisdom can not only transform your relationship with yourself, but completely free you from this invisible prison of impossible expectations that has governed your life since you were a child. For centuries, men have been systematically conditioned to suppress, to swallow emotions as if they were poison, to discard pain as if it were weakness, to wear an impenetrable mask of invulnerability in every life situation. Since we were small, we've been told that emotional expression is weakness, that vulnerability is an unforgivable character flaw, and that any form of self-pity is a mortal sin against masculinity. But let me ask you a question that cuts straight to the point. Is a dam truly strong if it's constantly holding back a massive torrential flood that's mathematically destined to eventually crack under the accumulated pressure over the years? Or is true ingenious strength found in the intelligent and strategic management of this natural force, in deeply understanding its destructive nature and channeling it constructively and productively? Think for a moment about the classic archetype of the strong man you were culturally taught to emulate since childhood. Think about your father, your grandfather, the men you admired on television, in movies, in books. Is this man truly thriving in all areas of life, living with purpose and genuine joy? Or is he just surviving day after day, his inner world being a chaotic and devastating storm, constantly hidden behind a carefully constructed stoic facade? Look around you right now. We see men in all spheres, in the media we consume, in our own dysfunctional families, in our toxic workplaces, in our fragmented communities who perfectly embody this cultural ideal. They never complain publicly, never ask for emotional help, always seem to have absolutely everything under total control. But answer me honestly, how many of them do you know who are truly at peace with themselves? How many silently carry a deep and corrosive despair, an existential gnawing emptiness that no external success, no material achievement, no social validation can definitively fill? The answer is frightening. This cultural illusion of constant and inflexible strength isn't a protective fortress, as we've been led to believe. It's a claustrophobic mental cage that keeps us prisoners of ourselves. It completely isolates us from genuine human connection, from true deep self-understanding, and most tragically, from authentic and unconditional self-love. The ancient Stoic philosophers of Greece and Rome understood this psychological dynamic with impressive clarity over 2,000 years ago. They didn't advocate for the destructive emotional suppression that our modern society preaches, but rather conscious and intentional emotional mastery. They understood with profound wisdom that our external circumstances, the actions of other people, world events, the situations we frequently face, are completely beyond our direct control. But our internal reactions, our conscious judgments, our rich and complex inner world. This is entirely within our personal domain and can be developed and perfected. And here's the most disturbing truth that most men refuse to face. If you don't courageously confront this destructive illusion right now, at this exact moment, it will continue to dictate and control every aspect of your life, leaving you perpetually dissatisfied, frustrated, and spiritually empty. But there is a real and proven way out. A path tested by time and forged by the millennial wisdom of humanity's great thinkers that completely redefines the concept of masculine strength. Before we continue, if this message is already making sense to you and has blessed you, if it's beginning to open your mind to a new perspective on what it truly means to be a strong man in this world, consider supporting this channel with a super thanks. Your direct contribution helps us continue creating and providing these transformative insights, empowering thousands of men around the world to reclaim their inner lives and find the peace they so desperately seek. Now let's dive deeply into what genuine strength truly is. Listen carefully. It's not the total absence of emotion like a soulless robot, but rather the disciplined and conscious command of these powerful emotions. It's not about being completely numb and disconnected from reality, but about being intensely present and crystal clear in your mental lucidity in the face of any adversity that life might throw at you. Epictetus, a man who knew suffering like few others, a former slave who managed to transcend his most brutal circumstances to become one of the most influential and respected Stoic philosophers in history, taught with absolute authority that it's not what happens to you, but how you choose to react to it that defines who you truly are. This is the unshakable foundation of true emotional resilience that every man must master. Imagine for a moment an experienced and skilled sailor, someone who has spent decades navigating the world's most dangerous oceans. He doesn't have the supernatural ability to control devastating storms, furious winds, or giant waves that threaten to destroy everything in their path. But he possesses total mastery over his ship, his sails, his rudder, and most importantly, his mental and emotional response to the natural elements. He trains tirelessly every day, not with the illusion of eliminating life's storms, but to develop the skill to navigate them with mastery and emerge on the other side stronger. Similarly, a truly stoic man consciously cultivates rock-solid internal virtues, practical wisdom, disciplined temperance, unwavering justice, and courageous bravery. Not to live a life without challenges or difficulties, but to face each obstacle with absolute integrity and unquestionable dignity. Consider the inspiring example of Marcus Aurelius, the powerful Roman emperor, who governed the greatest empire in history, but who still faced unimaginable pressures every day. He wrote his famous Meditations not to impress the public or gain fame, but as an intimate personal diary, a practical tool for daily spiritual combat against the constant assault of crushing imperial duties, bloody wars, and devastating personal losses. Even with all the power in the world at his hands, he consistently chose to process his challenges internally, through reflective writing, rather than reacting externally with anger or despair. This radical shift in perspective from reacting impulsively externally to processing consciously internally is literally the master key to unlocking a completely different kind of strength, one that doesn't depend on constant external validation or the impossible absence of life's difficulties. The concrete path to cultivating this authentic stoic strength, to truly embrace self-love, not as pathetic weakness but as the solid foundation of an extraordinary life, always begins with conscious, intentional, and rigorously consistent practice. And here's something most men don't understand. It's not about grand dramatic gestures we make once a year when we're motivated, but about small, deliberate, and specific actions repeated religiously every day, without exception. Think of it exactly like intellectual and emotional push-ups that strengthen your mind. Just as consistent physical exercise builds visible and functional muscles over time, these daily mental exercises build psychological resilience that no one can take from you. One of the most powerful and transformative practices that exists is reflective journaling, as masterfully exemplified by Marcus Aurelius in his personal meditations. Don't overcomplicate this process or create unnecessary mental barriers. Simply begin today, right now, if possible. As the wise Seneca advised with crystal clarity, each day consciously acquire at least one thing that fortifies you against poverty, against death, against misfortune, and against despair. Now we arrive at the decisive moment, the turning point that will separate you from the man you were until now. You've heard the brutal truth about false and performative strength, learned about genuine resilience, and been introduced to millennial Stoic practices that work. But here's the raw reality. Intellectual knowledge alone is absolutely not sufficient to transform your life. The real test, the moment that defines everything, comes when you're standing right in the middle of the most important crossroads of your life, the crossroads of radical and unconditional self-acceptance. For too long, you've been living as an emotional beggar, desperately chasing external approval from people who don't even know who you really are inside. You've been trying to prove your worth to a world that will never give you the recognition you seek. You've allowed other people's random opinions, their unpredictable reactions, their very presence or absence to completely dictate your internal state and self-esteem. But the Stoic path demands a radical and courageous inversion of this self-destructive dynamic. You must become the absolute gravitational center of your own life, the sun around which everything orbits. You must be so deeply aligned with your non-negotiable principles, so unshakable in your conscious decisions, so intensely focused on your greater purpose, that anyone who enters your life must necessarily adapt to your energy or simply walk away. This isn't blind arrogance or destructive narcissism. It's crystal clear mental clarity about who you are and what you represent. It's the profound realization that your vital energy, your precious time, and your inner peace are absolutely sacred and cannot be wasted on people who don't value your presence. You must understand viscerally that you are the greatest prize. The journey isn't a destination you reach and stop. It's a process of continuous improvement and constant evolution, of embracing deep emotional maturity without shame or embarrassment. The world will test you mercilessly, but if your personal foundation is built upon eternal and immutable Stoic principles, you'll remain firm as a mountain in any storm. Now, the only question that truly matters is this: are you genuinely willing to walk this path of transformation, even when it's difficult, even when it's lonely, even when everyone around you doesn't understand your journey? The choice is exclusively yours, and no one can make it for you.